Just a heads up, but this video might cut out now and then because CapCut server is terrible. I had a feeling this might happen, so I screen recorded it just before I clicked save, and then the file corrupted and is nowhere to be seen. So this is what we're working with. I just wanted to show you that when I say I've been in this tool, I really mean that I've been in this tool. I've got 30,000 tokens left. And I started on the, I don't think I started on the Pro plan. I went straight to the Pro 50 because I knew I'd seen the tutorials and I knew that I was going to need those 26 million tokens. And I thought 26, it was 25, was it 20? Yeah, it's 26. I thought that 26 million tokens was a lot. But when you see how much it's processing, you start to realize that you're going to burn through those tokens quite a bit, quite a lot, quite fast. And instead of buying add-on tokens, I thought, let me just move up to the Pro 100. And I was still happy with it because, again, I just calculated how much I've spent building apps before and things like that, and how much I was already getting done. And it just made the most sense. And then I moved on to the $200 a month plan. And it still made sense. It still made sense at this point. And I think it still does. But I probably wouldn't have needed to upgrade to this Pro 200 plan had I learned some of the things. Where is it? It's in another window. Had I learned some of the things that I'm going to share with you in a moment. So what happens is you get into the flow of it and it's still very new. So when you start to build and iterate, you notice that it's rewriting the entire code from the beginning, and sometimes it just has to change a line in a different folder or different file, but then it ends up just completely starting the whole thing from the beginning. So if you watch it, it will, let me come over here. So I do want to show you, but I've got 30,000 tokens left. So I'm going to try and see if I can do the prompt to start the program with those 30,000 tokens. So I'm not going to do it yet. So this one's not working because I've already taken it off of Bolt. So as you can see, it's connected to Supabase, and that's the database. So it doesn't matter if you're connecting to your GitHub, to this, or to any other program. If it's the same database, it's going to be affected. So it doesn't connect with anything going on in this project anymore. And but let me see if this link works. Oh yeah, it does. Okay, cool. So what Bolt.New do is connected to Netlify, which is an amazing website. I didn't know about it before. So I'm actually going to be deploying all of my sites onto Netlify. It looks like it's very easy. Then you can attach the CMS at the back. Well, I'll get into all of that later. But the project it was previously deployed. So I've got an old version of it on this URL. And I don't know how this is going to work because I don't know what it's connected to, if it's still connected to the database. But yeah, this is the first app I built, the first web app I built. And this is the one where I started building it in VS Code, and I had basically my MVP, my scaffolding, and I was committed to building it out, going through the whole process, and I was doing pretty well, very slow. I had no idea that I didn't need to prompt Claude or ChatGPT and take their code, copy and paste. I had no idea that I didn't need to do that. But I'd done that for a while and I learned quite a lot with it. But when I learned about Bolt.New, I just literally took a screenshot of my dashboard, which is not this. I had no landing page, nothing. Will it let me? It's not going to let me get in. I doubt it. So I can't get into the dashboard, but do any of the tools work? Probably not. But this is so cool. Bolt.New built all of these. It built all of my tools. They should be. This is probably not going to work. I think it might have like a fail safe. This is probably not AI. This is probably a fail safe. But yeah, it built all my tools. I'm jumping again, but So they deploy to Netlify, which is what it's done. So it's got an instance of it on this URL. I can take this off because I don't really want it here. This is not the complete site, and this is not what I'm going to be using. But yeah, so I gave it a screenshot of my dashboard, so you can upload an image. And then I prompted it and I explained exactly what I wanted, and it just took it and it ran with it. So I did have to do quite a bit of troubleshooting to get some of the things to work, some of the functions, but I made sure that up front, along with providing my MVP, I explained the function of the app, what I want it to do, who it's for, and then it kind of just went with it and done what it did. So this is the landing page it built, and it does. They do grab images from Pixabay or one of those other places, Unsplashed or something like that. So you don't have to mess around with, like, those other placeholder images that don't allow you to see what the end product is going to look like. But once you've got it over into GitHub or into wherever you're going to continue editing, you can just go and change those out, or tell it where your images are stored. Which leads me to my next point, which is, when you're getting started, there are things that you need to do. There are things that I wish I knew that would have saved me, because those 200 million, was it 200 million tokens? I don't know. I think it's Pro 200. 120 million tokens that I burned right through. These 30,000 tokens that I've got left out of 122 million, actually, because they gave us 2 million free tokens on Turkey Day, I was going to say. They gave us 2 million tokens on Thanksgiving. So I burnt through 122 million tokens. Granted, I built the homeschool website, I built another one I'm still working on, and I built another one. So I've built 4 and tested a plugin. So that's interesting. I'm going to get into that. And tested an app. But my skills are limited here. So with the app, I know I need to bring it over to a virtual environment and really test that out. But that's looking very, very promising. It's looking very fun, because I hate that I'm showing you a blank screen. That's looking really promising because, wait, what's in tips and resources? The file structure. I wonder if this works. No. So this was where I first started testing the clusters and the how to internally link, the CTA on all the pages. All of these things are prompts, which it's just so exciting to me, because it takes so long. Like, engineering something like this in WordPress is very, very difficult to do it, to execute it. But now it's just a matter of how well you can prompt. So loving that. But again, lost my train of thought. So I've managed to build the scaffolding, very, very good scaffolding, might I add, for 4 or 5 completely different platforms. I can see what I'm doing there. So I'm aware, very much aware, and how I know how the shiny object syndrome works. But no, the thing with that is learning how to use the tool properly, because had I not started those other ones, I wouldn't have learned the things I've learned that I've now taken into, like, Windsurf and all the other platforms that can help you extend far beyond Bolt.New. But what I've learned, and this is all within the course of a week. So within a week and maybe a couple of days, I can't remember when I found out about this, but within certainly less than 2 weeks, I've completely learned how to work with the system, how to minimize my token spend. Because in my last 5 million tokens, let me tell you, I think in my last 5 million tokens is when I built the last 3. So the first 2 were built on the bulk of it. Certainly this site was built on the bulk of it. And then when my tokens started getting lower, I started being resourceful. So learning the different ways to prompt to get the bare bones, so I can then move on and build out. And I think they're really trying to work on how you can preserve your tokens a bit better. And they have added things like file targeting. So when you're in the back end, you can, well, git ignore is ignored anyway, but You can tell it to target everything in the folder. You can tell it to not target, so you can lock it. You can lock a specific file, because that's where I lost my train of thought. When it's writing the code, it goes all the way back to the beginning and writes the whole thing out, and that's burning through your tokens. But that's the downside, that you really have to nurture your tokens to make sure you're getting the most out of your spend. So here are the things that I would recommend if you are starting a new Bolt.New project and you want to make sure that you're starting it right, you've got a healthy file structure, and you give it a really good prompt to get you going. Number one is Claude. You're going to start in Claude and you're going to tell it to create a simple file directory following the best practices of next.js 14, AppRouter, and maintain consistent paths throughout. And as you can see, you've got a nice, clean, well put together file structure. So you've got the project, and then you've got all the folders that go along with the thing and the tools that you want it to include and use. Because if you don't tell it what you want it to use, it's going to do its own thing, which is what I done on my first project. It's been fine. It's been a lot of fixes, but it's been fine for the most part because it does know what it's doing. But if you do know the tech stack that you want to use, then go ahead and tell it. So that's just an example, but just make sure you tell it to follow the best practices, and then it's going to give you that file structure. And then the next thing that you're going to do before you bring that over to Bolt.New is you're going to, let me see if I can just take this prompt as an example. So I've had to cut this prompt up a bit, but I've pasted it in here, and this is what I would say. There are 2 lines here that you would take, and then in between those lines is where the description for your project is going to be. So I would say, great, I'm going to build a platform that will be 100% mobile ready. So this is useful if you're building more than just a website. So a site that you want people to be able to sign up for and do things with, and that you can hopefully scale and build out down the line. So I would say, great, I'm going to build a web platform that will be 100% mobile ready with, oh, take that one out, that's from the Bolt prompt, next.js and all the things I mentioned above. So the things that you want it to use, and I will create the database with Supabase, but after the other things are done. So I would keep that because I want this to go to Bolt.New. But I would keep it in this one, but I would reiterate that when I make the Bolt.New prompt. So I am building this tool via an AI coder called Bolt.New. So create a prompt with this information. Oh yeah, no, that's the Right, so the next thing you're going to do is get Claude to build this idea out for you. So this is where you take all the things that you want to build into the app, the functions of it, the ideas, the color scheme. You don't put that straight into Bolt.New. You get Claude or ChatGPT to build the idea out for you, because there are going to be things that you've missed. So if you tell it exactly what you're trying to do, and then you tell it the idea that you have. So I can say I want to make the site/app will have a Netflix feel, but it will be geared towards, I don't know, building, I'm just making this up, building a community of film critics and I don't know, I don't even know where to go, and fan made content. I don't know, just so it can like give you some back end knowledge of, you know, how you would do that, because it knows that people would need to sign up. And then, yeah, I've said I'll be connecting it with Supabase after things are done. Okay, help me build this idea out. So this is the step 2, I think. It says I'm going to help you, and then it's going to do a really good job putting it all together. I think it's trying to build it, but let's just see. because you can also give this to Bolt as well. So it's done a good job trying to get the feel of it. That's cool. That's actually quite cool. Initial project structure. Yeah, it's just going off with it. So I'm gonna let it do that. And you can put the entire prompt, even with the examples, you can put the entire prompt in to Bolt.New, or you can just take the bits of text. It's entirely up to you. Regardless, it's done. You could leave that, but regardless, it's done the job. So it's built out the idea, comment system, rating system. It's really understood the scope of your project. And again, Bolt.New would do this too, but you want to make sure that if there's any other ideas that you've seen you might want to add, then you can do that here. But you don't necessarily want to put this all spaced out like this. So the next thing that you could put is, I'm building this tool with an AI coder. I'm building this tool via an AI coder called Bolt.New. So create a prompt with this information to help it structure and understand the vision. And then that prompt is what you'll put in Bolt.New with the file structure. So there we go. That's a better, more structured outline. It's got the directory structure here, but I would still give it the file system. I'd absolutely still give it the file system. This prompt provides a clear structure, organized in a way. Okay, yeah. So cool. So this is what it start with: the project setup and base layout components. Focus on creating a solid foundation that can be built on incrementally. That's perfect. So I'm gonna hope my 30,000 tokens will get me through the door. I need this, and I need the file structure. Where is it? Yeah. So you could save it as is, or you could do a screenshot, or you could just copy. And all right, so there we go. Let's just paste that in. So what do you want to build? Project. Yeah, I don't need to say I want to build blah blah blah. This is it. It understands. It's from one AI to another, and if I had an idea, I did say Netflix-esque, but that's not. I don't want to give it that. I want to see what it does. But if you have an idea or from another site that you like, at this point you can take a screenshot and upload it, and then it's going to try its best to follow that style. Not necessarily the same layout, but it might take on the color scheme or anything that you tell it to. You could like the buttons or the structure of, I don't know, just whatever you tell it. It's going to try its best to emulate. So I'm going to include the file structure. I'm just going to copy it in. I'm going to say this is the file structure. Please let 30,000 tokens be enough. Please let 30,000 tokens be enough. Please. I don't know if they will be. Let's see. But at least I get to show you it building. That's just amazing. When I saw it doing this, let's see, 26,000. So it's done that in 4,000. This is going to be interesting. I probably should have used those last 30,000 on something I wanted. It's fine. You just see everything it's doing. Movie poster, featured review. Just think about how long it would take to do this in Elemental or something like that. Okay, looks like it's done. How many tokens did it do that in? Oh, you've used all your remaining. Oh, you're not going to show me the preview then, are you? Oh, yes. Oh, that's lucky. I don't know if it just done that. It just ate my tokens, or it just kind of let me get away with it because it might have went over. But that's so cool. Look at that. How cool. So everything's not going to work at this point. They've taken the one unsplashed image they have that fits it and they've just put it with everything. But that is really cool. Like, I actually, again, shiny object syndrome. I have no idea what the niche is here. But I wouldn't build this, but I think it's just so cool. The fact that you can build things like this in this way so easily is just so inspiring. So inner pages aren't going to work at this point, and this is when you would start to prompt. You would just say, okay, build me a discover page, and it still has the prompt, so it still knows what you're trying to do. It's not just going to build some random like search engine kind of discover page. It's going to follow the initial prompt and guide. So I don't think any of these are going to have pages, because it did prioritize structuring it so it could show me, because it knew my tokens were low. But yes, that's pretty much it. And then what you can do is you can always go back and talk to Claude some more. You can always say, right, this is what I'm working with. Because the initial Claude prompt would have been limited to the structure, you could now say, okay, I'm building a discover page, give me some ideas. I'm building a review page, give me some ideas, and so on. And so can I go home? Oh, that's there. So yeah, that's it. That's how it works. That's how cool it is. Another thing you'll notice when you're inside Bolt.New is the errors that come up. So I clicked on discover, the page doesn't exist, and as you can see, that just became 20. I'm going to click on reviews. So it's telling you something's wrong. And what I would do, which would just burn my credits all the time, I didn't even care what the problem was, I would just click attempt fix. So it's taking everything from the error. So there's 24 of them. So that's stacked on top of each other, all the different, unless that's like 24 of the same error. I was just trying to fix the same thing without looking into what was wrong. Granted, it does a very good job at attempting to fix the problem because it knows what the problem is. It's just like putting it in Claude and then troubleshooting. Sometimes you still do have to take that problem and put it in Claude just so it can build out some different ideas of what the problem could be, because otherwise Bolt.New is going to act on its first bit of information. So you could press attempt to fix, it could try and fail, then you press it again, try and fail, press it again. And if you're new to it, you're absolutely going to fall into that trap, just hoping that the next time you press fix, it's going to fix it, but it doesn't, and your tokens are being eaten away. So if there's one thing you walk away with, is don't just keep pressing attempt fix. Sometimes just take the error text, put it in Claude, put it in OpenAI, see what it's saying, put it on Google, or sometimes you just need to look at what it's talking about, what it's actually saying. Don't be so intimidated that you just don't want to look at it at all, because like I said, that was just something simple. It was just the page doesn't exist. It doesn't need me to go and run this whole thing through the tool again and waste credits. It just needs me to say build collections, So yeah, that's it. I'm gonna play with these some more. I'm gonna try and get some more credits. I don't know if I don't need them. That's the thing. I would like to do some more videos going through it, because I think there's so many things to learn, and there's so many things that I didn't know initially. And then there's the whole workflow, like the process that I'm doing now, which is where I'm working on my SaaS tools. I'm going to say tools because there are two. There's this one and the homeschool one. They pretty much tie into each other, because one's the homeschool community. This one's for all parents. It's just something that I wanted to put together for my children, for my family, and I thought I may as well just do this. So they go hand in hand. They are definitely going to link to each other for sure. I'm going to have a fun time doing that. But generally, I'm not going to be building anything fresh in Bolt.New, so I don't need any new credits. And it's not really set up so you can open existing files. That might change, but it's not set up where you can. I think you can with Stacked Blitz, because you can access your Git repository, but I don't really want to mess around with all of that, especially as I make progress building out very, very specific things in Windsurf, and I can get right into the small things I want to do and not have to worry about it rewriting very important parts of the code, because that was very, very frustrating. And I say very tear inducing when you don't know what's going on. So I wouldn't risk uploading it and like going back. So once I take it out of Bolt.New, I'm content that I'm not going back in there. And that project's just done, and I've got to move it over to the next step. So again, it's all very new. I don't know if that's what they want in the long term, that people just make their MVP and then go and build it out. It's not a bad idea, and that's been working for me and loads of other people. But maybe they want you to just be able to build the whole thing in their tool. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. But hope you enjoyed that video. If you did and you're excited about this whole thing, drop a like and comment. If you're not excited and you just think I'm babbling on about nothing and just chasing shiny objects and my site is trash, just drop a comment as well. It's fine.